Good afternoon, class. How are we doing?
Good.
Fantastic. Today we're going to make a apple pie filling. All right, and this is the way this is going to go. I'm going to use Granny Smith apples, and the reason why I'm going to use a Granny Smith is because it's tart. It's not going to give up a lot of moisture. All right, and it's going to hold together a whole lot better for us. Now, if I went to use something like a Red Delicious, it's going to give too much juice, and it's going to make the pie extremely liquidy. It's great. Those would be great apples if I were making applesauce, but not the best apple in the world for pies. All right, so I'm roughly peeling my apple, cutting it in half, taking out the core, and I'll use a Parisian scoop for that. All right. Take out that core. Now, I'm not overly concerned about the little pieces of skin you happen to see on it. It kind of gives it a rustic look. As long as you're getting most of that skin off. I kind of like a little of the skin. The skin holds is where the pectin is, and that's kind of important. All right, I'm going to just basically cut this up. I kind of like smaller pieces for this. It keeps the pie from having too many air pockets in it, and therefore when it does settle down, it tends to have that dreaded gap between the pie and the pie filling. All right, at this moment we're going to add everything to our bowl. As you can tell, I cut up things prior to. All right, we're going to add our spices, allspice, cinnamon, sugar, very nice, and the juice of half or maybe the whole lemon. It really depends upon how much juice I get out of this lemon. I'm looking for about a real good tablespoon in here. All right. This is a pretty good lemon. We're getting quite a bit of juice out of this. I think half will do us fine. Get our pan rolling over here. All right, at this point, I'm going to mix everything up. Alright, I want to coat my apples. It'll also, the lemon juice will also stop the polyphenol oxidase. That's the browning of it. Alright? Alright, as our butter is melting here, we're looking good. I'm going to add my apples to this. I'm going to saute it over moderate heat. I want to stabilize the pectin to turn it into, so it doesn't break down the apples as readily in the pie itself. All right? By also cooking it, all right, we'll give off some of the moisture, and it won't be as watery, especially when I can get that. I'll add the cornstarch towards the end of this. And by adding the cornstarch, you could use arrowroot, it would be fine, but either one would be acceptable to thicken things out. All right, at this point I'm going to add some raisins into this. I happen to like raisins.
I hate them.
Well, then don't put them in yours. If you want to put...
So harsh.
Yeah, really. You know, I'm not feeling the love over here, guys, but okay. What's going to happen is if you rather have dried cranberries, berries or another dried fruit like cherries, that too is quite acceptable. I happen to like raisins, are very high in iron, right? And it's good for my inner body. I love it. It gives me well-being. So does the pie. Of course, it helps me keep up my girlish figure.
So dainty.
Yeah, so dainty. You could tell I'm ready for a Speedo, I guess. I don't know. There you go. Get human resources in here, my nightmare. All right, so we're cooking this down. As you can see, it's starting to create a little juice of its own. All right? Toasting the spices with it, giving a nice flavor. The sugar's starting to come out. At this point, I'm going to lower this just a little bit. I don't want to heat those apples up too rapidly. I don't want to destroy that pectin. You want to keep it somewhere around 130, 140 degrees. Otherwise, you'll destroy the pectin, and when you go to look for it in the pie to help you bind it up, it won't be there. Now what I'm looking for is al dente. All right, that means to the tooth. Remember, it's going to cook again inside the pie itself. So at this point, take a look at this. A little harder than I want, so I'm going to continue to cook this. Boy, the odor of the cinnamon and the spices is very intense. Notice I'm looking not for a lot of juice here. I want enough that'll keep everything together, held in the pie, but I don't want excessive that it's going to sod my beautiful crust down to nothing. Starting to get there. Yeah, the bottom is now starting to give up a little bit more juice, as you can see. I think at this point is where I want to cut this. I'm right where I want to be. At this point, we're going to end this demonstration. This is what you're looking for the filling. Thank you very much, class. It's been a pleasure.